Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. You have to hit option 1 if you want to talk to us. And we're going to be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko is on again. That's right. We got all the details. It's back on, kind of, in a roundabout way. Let's go, champ. He's getting a title shot. Shannon Briggs has finally been heard. Let's go, champ. We have another installment of our fantasy welterweight tournament. But first, we get started with Manny Pacquiao versus Jessie Vargas in the big show last night. 37-year-old Manny Pacquiao did a unanimous decision over Jessie Vargas last night. 118-109, 118-109 twice, and 114-113. It was a pretty one-sided, uneventful fight, I got to tell you. And I got news for you, man. If you paid $70 or $80 or whatever it was on DirecTV, man, my condolences, because that card, that fight was definitely not worth it. So I don't know what to tell you, man. You're out $80, man, because you could not have left satisfied after watching that. Pacquiao dropped Vargas in the second round with a straight left hook, Vargas worked his way back into the fight. He was never really out of the fight per se. I mean, the rounds were close, but it wasn't like Pacquiao was really overwhelming him, but he was winning the rounds. It was pretty clear cut, you know. Vargas was cut over the right eye in the 8th by a punch, and then Pacquiao closed strong, 114, 113, 118, 109 twice. I already said that. I'll start off by saying this. It took me 2 times to watch this fight. I was watching last night and just fell asleep around the 4th or 5th round. And I didn't wake up until the decision was read, so I knew who won. But I had a chance to watch it today, courtesy of Davey Boy Essex. And, you know, it was what it was. It was what we thought it was going to be. And, Beeb, I know you saw the fight. What were your thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of people are going to focus on the fact that this wasn't a pay-per-view fight. And I get that. But you know what? No one really wanted to pick up this fight. No network wanted to pick up this fight. Bob Arum really wanted to put this fight on this date. Manny Pacquiao wanted the date. So, you know, we got what we got last night. Jessie Vargas, I think, did some good things in there, fought to the best of his ability. You know, he just made a statement that he said, I belonged in there with Manny Pacquiao. I proved that I belong in there. And I'm gonna say that he didn't look totally outclassed, but definitely Manny Pacquiao was a level or 2 above him. It's safe to say that. You know, a lot of things that Manny Pacquiao is able to do. He's a special fighter. I'm just gonna say that. I've gone against him many times. I've been the biggest Manny Pacquiao critic over the years, but at the end of the day, the guy's gifted. He can make mistakes. He can do things in an unorthodox way and get away with it because he's so gifted, because he's just so fast and quick and explosive. And you could say that maybe he's not as fast as he once was, or you could say maybe he's not as explosive as he once was. But the thing is he still has enough of those attributes to still be a threat in this division. And he proved that last night against Jessie Vargas. Jessie Vargas is a guy, a lot of times, looks for that perfect punch. Doesn't just let the combinations flow. He's not always a fluid guy. Keeps the feet wide apart, and there's a problem doing that too, because when your feet are wide apart, you kind of make yourself shorter than you should be. So he's not able to fight tall because his feet are wide apart. And also, too, when you try to, regather yourself after throwing punches and you try to reset and get back into a defensive posture, it takes you that much more time to do so because your feet are wide apart. And, you're a little bit off balance as well, and you can't move as well either. It slows you up in your movement. So there's a couple of things wrong with that. Jessie Vargas had a hard time really pinning Manny Pacquiao down because Manny Pacquiao would not stand in front of him. Jessie Vargas has shown the ability to cut off the ring in other fights, but he just couldn't cut off the ring against Manny Pacquiao because Manny Pacquiao is a whole different animal because he's constantly changing up the looks, never stays still. He'll throw his punches, and he'll just step off to the side. Now, some of the things that Manny Pacquiao did last night, he's been doing his whole career, and he's kind of tweaked them a little bit and adjusted them a little bit because Manny Pacquiao, as Timothy Bradley alluded to, does things very unorthodox. He'll throw the right jab, and then after he throws the right jab, he'll step off to the right and then throw the left hand. Generally when you're boxing and you're taught to fight, you throw your jab, and your jab is your lead hand, and you move in the direction of where your jab is going to line up the right hand. You don't go the opposite side. So Manny Pacquiao basically gives his opponent opportunities because he walks right into the right hand. But it's just hard to pick up on that because now, before a lot of times, Manny Pacquiao would overextend a lot. He would lead face first, and sometimes he would overshoot that straight left when he would throw it. And people were picking up on the fact that he was going to move to that side. We'll cut him off at the pass, and we'll counter over the top with the right hand. But one little wrinkle Manny Pacquiao added to his game is when he throws that jab, he'll throw a little pump fake, a little feint before he throws that jab, and he freezes his opponent because they're bracing themselves after he throws that feint, expecting a punch to come. And while he freezes his opponent, then he slides over and throws the left hand. And when he throws the left hand, he's not really overextended, not trying to hit a home run with it. He just shoots it. So he's a lot more patient. He's adjusted his game a little bit. He seems to have settled down a lot. I don't know whether that is because, he's trying to conserve energy because he is 37 years old, or maybe he just wants to be a little bit more defensively responsible and not be reckless. But whatever the case may be, he's still able to land that straight left with frequency, and it's like a dart in there. It's like a guided missile, and Jessie Vargas couldn't get out of the way of it. So this was just a bad style matchup for Jessie Vargas because he could not time the left hand, number one, and number two, could not pin Manny Pacquiao down because of the foot speed. And that foot speed, arguably, I still think, even with his age and the fact that possibly he has slowed down, I still think, arguably, he has the fastest feet in boxing right now. He has the fastest feet in boxing right now, and I just think a lot of guys can't basically gauge that foot speed. So, he's beating them to the spot. He doesn't get the opportunity to cut him off at the pass. Marquez he anticipated everything that Manny Pacquiao did. So, before Manny Pacquiao would start his offense or start his attack, Marquez would anticipate where he was going. He would beat him there, and he would meet him with a counter shot. You can count on your hand the amount of fighters in the sport that can do that to Manny Pacquiao. Floyd Mayweather did it. Not possibly, he did it. Marquez did it. And Bradley, to some degree, did it. But Pacquiao, as I said, switched it up a little bit and started throwing some feints in there and started really not leaning too much in. And, he tightened things up a bit. I have to say he's tightened things up a bit over these last couple of years to kind of make up for whatever he's lost in speed, explosiveness, and reflexes or what have you. So I still think Manny Pacquiao is a force to be reckoned with in this division. I would still favor him over just about every welterweight out there right now, with the exception of possibly Floyd, obviously not Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather retired, but with the exception of Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence still has a lot to prove, but that, he's passed the eye test and then some with me. I like a lot of the things he does. He does subtle movement. You give him an inch and he can find that opening. You give him a little and he turns it into a lot. And that's what I love about this kid, Errol Spence. I love the body position and always makes himself an elusive target, puts himself in position sort of like Andre Ward, as I've alluded to before, where he can land shots and you can't come back with counters because he's already off to the side positioning himself to land, and he's already out of range for you. So I think Pacquiao would have problems with that. I think, and Errol Spence is great at the timing. I just think that he's another one of those fighters. I don't want to say he's gifted just yet, but he's another one of those fighters that can see things unfold before they're actually happening. And I think that would cause problems for Manny Pacquiao. But other than that, I still think Manny Pacquiao is the number one guy in this division with Floyd Mayweather being gone. And you could say, well, this guy could do this. This guy may do that. But the fact of the matter is, none of these guys have fought a guy the level of Manny Pacquiao, except for Tim Bradley. And you saw what happened there. He arguably lost all 3 fights. I thought he won the first fight, but clearly lost the second too. So Manny Pacquiao, you can say what you want. He's still a threat. He's still a force. And I'm going to still say he's the number one guy until someone knocks him off that perch.
I'll tell you what, I thought that Jessie Vargas, through this fight, even though he was outgunned in this fight, was able to land that right hand quite a few times. So I don't know that Pacquiao is necessarily being defensively responsible by slowing down his output. My personal opinion is that Pac's legs are gone. I know you said that, he's got the fastest footwork and everything like that. To me, his legs are clearly gone. He cannot fight the way he used to. I don't think there's any question about that. And if he gets in there, and let me tell you what, shame on Danny Garcia and shame on Adrian Brawner for not taking that fight, because you would have been a superstar last night. Because he's fighting Jessie Vargas, had his hands full with Jessie Vargas. And not that Jessie Vargas is a bad fighter, but, personally, I would favor Garcia. I would favor Brawner over Jessie Vargas. No questions. Pacquiao.
Oh, yeah, over Jessie Vargas. I thought you could say over maybe Pacquiao.
No. no. They're not going to favor him over him.
I'm sorry, Eric. I'm sorry.
But, I tell you, though, I would have favored either one of those guys over Pacquiao last. That's a fight I would have paid for. I would have paid for a Brawner. I would have paid for a Garcia. I'm not paying for Vargas. No way. No way. Nobody wanted to see that third Tim Bradley fight. Nobody wanted to see the Jessie Vargas fight. Everybody's clamoring for the Terrence Crawford fight now, which I would make Crawford the favorite in that fight. They talked about him and Lomachenko. I would make Lomachenko the favorite in that fight, even though he's like a ton underneath his weight.
Wow.
Yeah. Lomachenko's too fast, man. Pacquiao doesn't have it. And you know what? Let me tell you this. Here, I put this together here. The punch stats. All right. Let's go back to 12-6-08 of 2008 when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. This is an 8-round fight. All right. 585 punches thrown, 224 landed in an 8-round fight. All right. Last night. All right. Pacquiao threw 409 punches, landed 147 for a 12-round fight. All right. Let's take it back. Let's see what about Cotto? Let's take the Cotto fight. Pacquiao threw 780 punches against Cotto back in 2009. He landed 336 of them. What about Margarito? 1,069 punches thrown, 474 landed. I'll say it again last night. 409 punches thrown, 147 landed. He used to land more than he threw here. He threw, he landed 474 against Margarito. Landed 336 against Cotto. 147. He landed 81 against Mayweather. He landed 147 last night. Those are staggering. When you look at that punch stat and you look at what he did versus what he does now, those numbers are pretty staggering. That's not a guy. And at the end of the fight, I know the announcers and everybody, Pacquiao's back. Pacquiao looks better than ever. He looks unbeatable, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you right now, this is a guy who's on the dark side. He's done. He moves forward and that's it. There is no, I didn't notice any stellar leg work like he used to do. Like like back in the day when he used to move in and move out, cut angles, everything like that. Everything is done now with his upper body. Nothing is done with his legs, and he's coming forward. He's definitely not the same fighter. I know you would favor him as the guy in this division. And I don't know that he beats anybody. Other than David Avanesyan. I think you favor Keith Thurman. I think you favor Danny Garcia. I think you favor Errol Spence.
No way, Danny Garcia. No way, Danny Garcia. Look what Danny Garcia did against Mauricio Herrera. He arguably lost. I thought he lost to Lamont Peterson.
Maybe.
And then he, oh my God, like
maybe.
Oh wow.
But tell me this. Tell me what.
Not Adrian Broner.
Oh! He's from Cincinnati. Of course, you're going to favor him.
Sean Porter.
First of all, he didn't lose. But he lost to another Ohio. You know what? And let me tell you. He lost to an Ohioan. All right, it's Titletown around here. Okay, he lost to one of us. So we forgive. That's okay. But the Maidana fight, that was a fluke. That wasn't a big deal. But but you know,
Eric,
let me tell you.
have you been drinking? Have you been drinking, son?
We're going to address that later on in the show. But you know, I tell you what, though. I mean, really, though, you would pay for Adrian Bronner. I mean, you'd pay for Adrian Bronner Pacquiao. You'd pay for Garcia Pac. Those are all better matchups than Jessie Vargas. Yeah. And if he can only produce 147 punches landed against Jessie Vargas, what do you think he's going to do against a guy who's been fighting good competition, you know, not retread fights that you know you can win? I mean, what do you think he's going to do? That's why I would favor Garcia in those fights. Go ahead, Robert.
Eric, I think, unfortunately, I think we're one step closer to the disaster part 2. That's what I think is going to happen.
You need to mark that on your calendar already. May 2017, Pacquiao Mayweather II is a lock. It's a done deal.
God.
He told you the first fight was happening. He told you
Eric, I think that's where we're headed, and I don't like it at all.
I'll tell you, and Mayweather was at the fight, and depending on whose story you believe, Pacquiao said he invited him. Bob Arum said that Mayweather, I guess, Beeb, what was the story that Bob Arum said that Mayweather called him for tickets or something crazy?
Bob Arum, according to Bob Arum, okay, Floyd Mayweather called, contacted Top Buff, was the vice president of Top Rank, Bob Arum's son-in-law, and asked him for tickets, and he credentialed them, you know? And it's so funny, too, because Mayweather would always say, no disrespect to Bob Arum, but you know what? I would never buy a top-ranked promoted event. I would never put money in Bob Arum's pocket. You know, we have a history, me and Bob Arum, you know what happened, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, he didn't have to pay. He was credentialed. So he got free tickets. He had the best seat in the house right behind the announcers. And this is the thing, too. You know, Andre Berto versus Victor Ortiz won. Floyd Mayweather was there with 50 Cent in the crowd, and he was being interviewed. They asked him, you here to scout the winner? He's like, no, I'm just here to, I'm spending the weekend with 50 Cent. 50 Cent's got a house out here. We're just chilling right now. We're watching the fight. And lo and behold, what did he do? He fought the winner. So anyone who doesn't think that this Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 fight is going to happen, I'm telling you, man, you're going to be surprised, because it's definitely going to happen. He was there for a reason, in my opinion. And, you can say what you want. The fight sold 4.5 million pay-per-view buys. Look at the money it generated. All it has to do is do half of what it once did before, and it's still a huge blockbuster mega fight. So, I'm going to buy it again. Eric, I know you're going to buy it. You're saying you're not, but once once the adrenaline starts flowing, you start seeing all the commercials. It's just like you're going to be like a battered woman that keeps going back to the husband or the abusive boyfriend. It's going to happen. You know we're going to do it. So stop fronting. Stop fronting. You too, Robbie. Stop fronting.
Well, listen, man, we got to give Robbie kudos last night, because last night he did not pay for the fight. He did not pay for the fight. And good for you, Robert.
Yeah, I want to see his cable bill.
He said he was lying.
No, look, Beeb, you know me. I buy everything, but I did not buy last night's fight.
Robert said he put his foot down.
On you right now.
He put his foot down and said, hey, we're done. Let me tell you what, man, if you didn't catch this on Facebook Live or Cody or something like that, man, I feel for you, man, because you just flushed about $70 or $80 down the drain on this, man.
Beeb, it sounds like you either paid for it or got to see the Top Rank broadcast. What did you think of Stephen A. Smith and the crew, if that's the case?
Well, let me tell you this. This is the problem that I have with Stephen A. Smith. He always tries to be an antagonist. And, whatever Tim Bradley said last night, he would try to counter it and just start an argument, just like he used to do with Skip Bayless, for no apparent reason. Tim Bradley said, Jessie Vargas made a good account of himself. He did his best. This was not a bad performance, considering a lot of people thought that he would do worse, and he did better than what was expected. And Stephen A.'s like, well, what does that mean? Blah, blah, blah. Better than expected. You come here to win, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we understand that, Stephen A. Smith. But Jim Bradley wasn't saying that, it's not important to win the fight. All he was saying was he did better than what was expected. Let's keep in mind, he was a 7-1 underdog, okay? And, he lost the fight. He scored the fight. He lost the fight. Why? But every round, it wasn't like he was getting destroyed in there. He would land a couple right answers, just that Manny Pacquiao would come right back. So most people thought that Jessie Vargas was going to get knocked out, that he was going to get busted up, that he was going to get destroyed. That wasn't the case. So, Tim Bradley was right. He did better than what was expected. Did anyone think he was going to win the fight? Probably his family members. But other than that, no one thought he was going to win. But a lot of people thought he was going to get the shit kicked out of him. I don't think he got the shit kicked out of him last night. And, he still landed some quality shots on Manny Pacquiao. Did he win rounds? Yeah, maybe 2 or 3. You wanted to be generous. You could have given him 4 if you really wanted to. But I gave him 2. But that doesn't mean that he was lost in there. He was trying to win. He had a look on his face like, he was really putting forth his best effort. He was determined. He kept coming. He was landing some good right hands here and there. But again, the skill gap was just wide. It was just wide. But he finished the fight. He made a good account of himself considering the skill gap. That's a fair assessment, in my opinion. And then, Stephen H. is trying to make an argument about it. Again, it's like we criticize HBO, trying to point out something or try to create something that's not there, or try to take something that's a minuscule point and blow it up into something that's big when it's not needed. You know what I'm saying? Don't make yourself the show. The fight is the show. People come to watch the fight. They don't come to hear Stephen A. Smith bloviate. No one wants to hear Stephen A. Smith bloviate. I'm sorry, Robbie, go ahead.
This is one of the problems I had with the whole setup. I mean, I'm glad that HBO, for example, didn't want to carry this fight. I'm glad that Bob Arum had to basically pay for it out of his own pocket. But, he got an announce crew and he put the head person of the crew who has no knowledge or no experience in the sport of boxing. To me, that was a bad job on Bob Arum's part. If you want, granted, if you want people to, and people don't buy pay-per-views for the announcers, I get that. But if you're going to run a pay-per-view yourself and you're going to pay for talent to be behind the microphone, you should, since you've been in the sport for 40 or 50 years, you should have a list of people that you can call and say, hey, I want you to come and do this fight. I mean, to me, one of the reasons why I did not buy this is because I thought Stephen A. Smith would make the whole card about him and it would be a complete circus. And it doesn't sound like I'm wrong.
I don't know about that. I mean, it was, I think, like Beeb said, I mean, it was his first time. He doesn't know anything about boxing. I mean, it's pretty clear he doesn't know anything about boxing. But it's not different than the experiments they did on Monday Night Football, bringing Dennis Miller in and that kind of thing. I didn't. Oh
God, that was that.
Yeah, I didn't hate the announce team. I mean, I wouldn't want to listen to them, on the regular or whatever. I didn't think. I mean, Brian Kenny was okay. I mean, they didn't do too bad. I actually tuned into the Box Nation feed. I thought that we were going to get the British guys announcing, but they kicked it back over the stateside, so we got them announcing. So I was kind of disappointed at that. I was looking forward to the British feed, so I didn't have to listen to them. But, I mean, overall, I mean, Stephen A. Smith, again, he's out of his league or whatever. But I didn't hate it. You know what I mean? I didn't hate it didn't make it or break it for me. The fight, for me, make it or, it wasn't make it or break it, and it was horrible. I thought the fight was just your average HBO fight. That fight should have taken place on HBO anyway.
And Bob Arum, I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, granted, I know a promoter's got to make money, but this was his show, his ball game, and he set the prices at $70 or $80, $70 for standard, $80 for HD. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Oh!
You can't. Well, Joe, I'll give you a chance to disagree if you like, but you can't gouge the boxing public like that. This was not worthy of being paid for, and since you were forced to pay for it out of your own pocket. You decided to gouge the boxing fan, and I hope your pay-per-view tanks.
Somebody in the chat just said, "Where's the
Go
soap,
ahead,
Robbie?"
Joe, if you want to rebut that.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing. You just caught me off guard with that language. I was a little bit taken aback. I'm sorry.
Hey, I tell it like it is. I tell it like it is.
I know you do. That's why I love you, Robbie.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, the
you know,
announce team was just okay for me.
I want somebody to call up here and admit that they paid for the thing.
Robbie, you can't put people on the spot like that.
Yeah, because
Please.
I don't think any of our audience paid for it. I think they watched it other ways.
Oh, what are you saying?
I can agree with that. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody listening to us in the chat, watching us on YouTube, or the people that call in, I don't think anybody took money out of their own pocket last night and paid for this. If they watched it, they watched it another way.
Yeah, Facebook Live had it.
Out there.
What's that?
Yeah, I was going to put a public service announcement out there. You did buy this fight. I don't want you to feel like you're less of a person. I mean, I don't want you to be embarrassed. I know Robbie has a strong opinion on this, but I don't want you guys to feel any less of a human being for buying this pay-per-view. It's okay. Go ahead,
hey,
yeah,
Joe,
Russell Scott, hang on.
If you bought it, you can freely admit it.
All right.
Russell Scott said he watched it on Periscope for free. I know Facebook Live had it streaming. I know Cody had it all over there. I actually had trouble.
Right.
I got home late last night, and I know Cody had trouble. I had trouble on Cody watching. I think I coined it down on Sports Devil or something like that. It was a British feed or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you got to suspect that people are going to watch it other ways, because $80 for this load of garbage was just like, it was way too much, man. I mean, this was like a $50 fight. If you're going to do pay-per-view and you wanted to charge $50 for it, I can understand that. Still wouldn't pay for it. Still wouldn't recommend anybody pay for it. Wait, what are you doing? What are we just cutting each other off today?
$75 for Kovalev Ward.
What are we just cutting? What are we just cutting each other off today?
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric.
All right, so go ahead. So yeah, 75 for Kovalev. Have the price speaking of that, has the price come out for Kovalev Ward?
No, but I'm just guessing it's going to be around 75.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking right around $70 to $75. I hope it's not that much. Beeb, have you heard anything about the pay-per-view on that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's probably going to be like 55 standard, maybe 65 HD. I don't think it's going to be a huge price tag. I don't think it will be.
You know, they're
like those UFC prices.
Yeah.
You know, the UFC charges like in the $50, $60 range.
Yeah.
I'm expecting this to be about the same price.
Nobody knows these two.
That's what I'm suspecting.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm suspecting.
Russell Scott is saying $80 HD. So he's saying 69 for regular,
yeah,
79
I can
HD.
See that too. I can see
but he's saying in Canada. He's saying in Canada. So that may be might be $10 cheaper over here. So who knows? But hopefully that's it.
Okay.
323-870-3857 if you want to chime in here. So let's talk about the undercard. Let's talk about the rest of the undercard here. We talked about Nonito Donaire. Let's talk about Nonito Donaire versus Jessie Magdaleno, which in my opinion, I thought was the fight of the night here. You know, for whatever that's worth. I mean, it wasn't a great fight. It was a good fight. Super Bantamweight undefeated. Jessie Magdaleno won by a 12-round unanimous decision to defeat WBO champion Nonito, the Flash Donaire, on the undercard in Las Vegas. Decent fight. Good action at times. Magdaleno rocked Donaire in round 9. Donaire closed strong, but it was a little too late. In the end, the scores were 116-112 twice and 118-110. I thought that I expected. I really thought Donaire was going to win this fight going in, but I thought Magdaleno did a really good job with him, man. I thought he kept him at bay. I thought he was able to match his intensity. I thought that he was able to outbox him. Beeb, when you watched this, did you think that Donaire was going to win or Magdaleno, and what did you think of the fight overall?
Thought Donaire was going to win going in. I picked him to win.
Yeah.
I was surprised with Magdaleno. I wasn't expecting him to fight that fast of a pace, number one. And he was very disciplined early on. I mean, he used good movement. You know, he went in and out very well. Did not stand too long in the pocket for Donaire, because Donaire, as quick as he is, he seems to have slowed down a bit too. But he really, you know, needs to set his feet. He reminds me a lot of Felix Trinidad, where he puts a lot of weight on that front foot because he likes to really focus on landing that big left hook. And if you can keep him moving his feet, he's not able to really set that front foot, put that weight that he wants to put on it, and launch that left hook. And that's his bread and butter. We already know that. That's a lights out punch for him. And I'm well aware, and I'm sure that you know, Magdaleno was aware of that as well. And he made the adjustments to not be there for that left hook. And he really wasn't getting caught with anything big until later in the fight. Now, what I think happened was he exerted a lot of energy, Magdaleno. He moved a lot. He moved a lot, fought a very fast pace, and it was, you know, really intent on being defensively responsible. He wasn't trying to get any exchanges. He was just trying to run his combinations, get in there and get out, and his jab was on point as well. And I thought he did very well with that style, with that fast-paced style, and constantly moving, constantly forcing Donaire to have to reset his feet. And Donaire is not really fluid on his feet. He's got quick hands. He can be explosive at times, but he's not a guy who can just stop and pop like in basketball. You have those guys that can move, stop, and pop quick. He's a set shooter. He's a set shooter that likes to set his feet and likes to really sit down on his punches. And when you don't allow him to sit down on his punches and constantly keep him moving his feet, then you can have some success with him. Rigondeaux showed us that. He has problems with guys who move. He doesn't like chasing guys around the ring. And he had to kind of chase Magdaleno around the ring early on. And I think he was getting frustrated early on. But, as I said, Magdaleno, because of that fast-paced, constant movement, I thought he slowed down just a bit. I'm not going to say the wheel fell off the wagon, but he slowed down just enough where Donaire could kind of catch up to him a little bit. And Donaire just threw all caution into the wind, and he was leaping in with that left hook. He was throwing lead left hooks. And I don't think Magdaleno was prepared or expecting those lead left hooks. And I thought he caught Magdaleno with a few of them, not enough of them to really, you know, hurt Magdaleno to the point where he couldn't continue. And I thought Magdaleno had to hang on those last 3 rounds, because I did give those last 3 rounds to Donaire. I thought he finished strong. But, you know, Donaire came over to the broadcast team and said, I woke up a little bit late. No, I don't think he woke up a little bit too late. I thought that Magdaleno slowed down just enough where you could catch up to him, and you capitalized on that. If they rematch, would the fight be differently? Judging upon what I see, I think Magdaleno's just a little bit too quick and a little bit too slick for Donaire. And, you know, Donaire, you know, he has to have the right opponent in front of him to really look good, particularly now at this stage of his career where you can see that he's slowed down. This is a guy where noticeably he slowed down more so than I disagree with you with the Pacquiao comparison. I think he's really slowed down, whereas Pacquiao slowed down, but even though he slowed down, he's still fast. Donaire slowed down enough where, you know, the Magdalenos of the world can beat him now. So I think that he really has to be careful moving forward who he chooses for an opponent, and it has to be the right style too for him to succeed, for him to win another world title, and for him to you know, look good. So I was impressed with Magdaleno. I was impressed with his composure and how he was able to stick to the game plan and not really get overwhelmed in there, because this was a big moment for him. This was his first really named opponent on pay-per-view, big fight. And he was well composed, and he stuck to the game plan. And he was just mentally prepared for this fight, whereas I wasn't 100% sure that he would be, but he was. And that's what I think really helped him in there, was just sticking to the game plan and really scouting Donaire and knowing what to do and knowing that, you know what, we got to keep this guy moving. We can't let him set down on that left hook because we don't want to get caught with that shot. And I think he did very well. And, you know, it's interesting to see what's going to happen next for him. Hopefully this opens the doors for some more big fights for him. And he deserves them after this performance, without a question.
Have we seen the last of the Filipino Flash?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't think we've seen the last of him, but maybe we've seen the last of him, you know, being successful. I don't know. You got to be careful who he's in there with next, because we already saw Nicholas Walters stop him. Saw what Rigondeaux did to him. So got to be matched carefully here on out, I think.
So let me ask you, because you hit the nail on the head. I thought that if those two rematched, I thought Magdaleno was going to win the rematch. You know what I mean? He just seemed faster. He seemed slicker. So now moving forward here, there's really only one real big name. And you can argue the big name, but the fact is he's a champion. He's a recognized champion. That would be Guillermo Rigondeaux. Do you think that Magdaleno has a shot against Guillermo Rigondeaux?
Based off of this performance, I will say the fight could be interesting. And because Rigondeaux really hasn't been in there with top-level opposition in a long time, he's been on the shelf. And because he's getting older now, he's in his mid to late 30s, the fight could be interesting. But even going back to Donaire, if you looked at him against Victor Chinian in the rematch, he was even losing that fight against a battle-worn Victor Chinian. So I don't want to get too excited about this performance because, with all due respect to Donaire, he's definitely has slid. He's definitely slipped. So do I think Rigondeaux has slipped enough for, Magdaleno to be able to beat him? I'm going to say no, but anything is possible. I was wrong already with this kid. Maybe I could be wrong again. Yeah. And if I were to be wrong again, if he was to fight Rigondeaux, and the fight did turn out to be a competitive, interesting, intriguing matchup, then that's good. I mean, I would hope to be wrong. But right now, I think maybe Rigondeaux is still a tall task for him. If the fight gets made, I would still be intrigued by it. I'd be interested in it, but I would favor Rigondeaux if they were to fight.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen Jessie Magdaleno fight before, and I don't know if he wins that fight, but I think he makes it interesting. So let's see if they can put that fight together. Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn. Yeah,
pretty confident that fight's not happening. Yeah. Even though Rigondeaux's the guy in the division, he's not necessarily the money guy in the division, and Magdaleno could probably make a lot more money somewhere else just fighting. All things considered, we'd love to see. I would like to see it. And see how he matches up and everything. I'd like to, I like Rigondeaux, but again, man, it's a lot of risk there for not a lot of rewards. So who knows? Right. Let's move on to Oscar Valdez versus Hiroshige Osawa. WBO featherweight champion Oscar Valdez scored a 7th round TKO over a pretty game challenger, man. Osawa was game. He was there to fight, but in the end, man, he was just outmatched here. He was a 70-1 favorite. Valdez was dropped Osawa in round 4, and then eventually got him out of there in the 7th round. So bout was waved off. What were your thoughts, Beeb? I thought Valdez looked good, but I thought he was, the guy he was fighting was not, even though he was rated at number 1, we've seen, number 1 rated contenders before who are not really number 1 rated contenders. And I think that's what we kind of saw here. What were your thoughts on Valdez? I thought he looked good. Given his opponent, he did what he should have done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. Definitely overwhelmed his opponent. Wasn't any surprises there. As you said, these guys get ranked number 1. That's not always an indication of, how good of a fighter they are. But you could totally tell that there was a huge skill gap here. And this was just a basic one-sided fight. And, there's really not much to say about it. It seemed like a showcase fight more so than a title fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the way these fights are. I mean, Bob Arum likes to say, oh yeah, we put 4 title fights on there, but were they really significant title fights where you had 2 guys who were legitimately close to each other in skill level? Yeah, you could say that for maybe the Donaire Magdaleno fight, but even on paper, all these fights were kind of mismatches. They were all mismatches on paper. Now, we got a pleasant surprise with Magdaleno, but we weren't going to get too many surprises throughout the course of this card because, lightning can only strike 1 or 2 times. It's not going to strike 3 or 4 times, which was the case in this card. But
I'll be glad to defend Oscar here. this was, his mandatory. He took care of it. Hopefully, from here on forward, he's in more interesting fights because he is a good young fighter, and I do like Oscar going forward. But this was a mandatory, and he got it out of the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not. But the thing is, Robbie, it was a mandatory. It was a fight that had to happen. But let's be honest, it was on pay-per-view. Was this a type of fight that would excite anybody? Obviously, yeah, you want to see Valdez again. He looked good, what have you. But was this the type of opponent that could really elevate Valdez? Is this because when you're on pay-per-view, you got millions of people watching you. You need a fight that's going to really push you forward. That's going to, garner you more fans. Was this that type of fight? I'm going to say no. So,
no.
That's just my point. That's my point.
And hopefully millions didn't tune into this because that would make the pay-per-view model even worse than what it currently is.
You know what the whole night was like?
I mean, yeah, like there was I heard there was 500,000 or 400,000 people. This is what I heard. I don't know how true it is. Watching it on Facebook. So I'm not saying million people brought it, but with all those other outlets out there, I'm sure that people were watching this card one way or the other. Obviously, we watched it, and we're talking about it. That's not necessarily to say that we paid for it, but we watched it. So again, you got people watching you. You want to be in there with with an opponent that can kind of uplift you a little bit. And I don't think this was the opponent. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I agree with you, and I'll give Oscar a pass. He did what he was supposed to do.
Oh yeah, and I agree with you on that count as well.
Yeah, let's talk about the first fight on the card here: Zou Shiming versus Pratisak Faprom. This fight was the most mind-blowing on the card as far as baffling. I'll tell you what, Faprom and Shiming fought 2 years ago in Macau, and it was a complete whitewash there. They fought again last night. It was a one-sided decision, 120-107 twice and 119-108. Shiming dropped Faprom in round 2. I mean, it was a complete whitewash. It was a very non-competitive fight. The entire card, with the exception of the Magdaleno fight, remind me of turning on Saturday morning wrestling and just watching squash match after squash match. You'd see the champion come in there and just completely dominate one guy, and then the next guy would come out. They were just showcase matches, and here was the same way. That's exactly what this card reminded me of. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's, my opinion of the card.
Zou Shiming. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Zou Shiming is that type of guy where, Zou Shiming seems to still be that type of guy, at least to me, where he just hasn't really found his identity in there. You saw in this fight, there was some points in this fight where he tried to be, stand in the pocket, tried to get Faprom out of there, and he couldn't really do anything with him. He couldn't hurt him enough to really cause any negative effects. There's no staggering. There was nothing really where, and he knocked him down, but it was kind of like a flash knockdown. So he had no success doing that. So when he realized he couldn't knock out Faprom, then he started to play around with him, and it started to really kind of look like a circus at some point. So the thing is do you want to be that power punching guy? Do you want to be the boxer, or do you want to be do you want to be a Jorge Paez where you want to clown around and you want to joke around? You got millions of people watching you. Again, you're trying to make a good impression on the fans. So did I see anything last night to indicate to me that this guy can beat a Chocolatito? Hell no. And can he beat a Ruin Wrong? Hell no. Could he beat a Casamayor? No way. So, or Casimiro, I have a hard time pronouncing that guy. Yeah. Could he beat that guy? No way. So that this is the thing. They're trying to really pump this guy up, and he was an Olympian. He was a great amateur, but he really hasn't shown me, at least, or I don't know what you guys think, that he's adapted well to the pro game, and he's going to be a force in the pro game. There's many fighters who basically were great amateurs. Howard Davis Jr. comes to mind, gold medalist, awesome amateur fighter, very good Olympian. I think he's one of the best Olympians on that team. But when he entered the pro ranks, really couldn't accomplish much. And I think Zou Shiming is kind of following in those footsteps. I just don't see, him being a pound for pound, a real stellar pro. And the sad part about it was this was for a vacant world title last night. You know what I'm saying? This was for a vacant world title last night. And going back to the ratings and the ranking system, did this guy look like he belonged in there with Zou Shiming? No. But this was for a vacant title. So again, that could be taken with a grain of salt. These guys having to fight mandatory. I understand that. And vacant titles come up, you take the opportunity. But again, this was basically a showcase fight, and Zou Shiming looked like he could have done more. Looked like possibly he could have got him out of there with the frequency he was landing his punches. But the thing is, when you're able to land that clean and that frequently against somebody, one way or the other, you should be able to get him out of there. And just Zou Shiming just does not have that star power, that dynamic element to his style, where I'm excited about the guy. I'm just not really excited about the guy. I have to be honest.
My only comment to this is one pro career that started way too late. He was an amateur for way too long, and I don't think this is a pro career that's going to be highly successful. I know Bob Arum, Top Rank, signed him to a large contract. They showed all those fights from Macau, so everybody could get, those early afternoon, late afternoon kind of fights from China. But this is one pro career that is not going to go anywhere. And now that he's got a vacant title, if I'm people in his division, I line up to take that title away, because I viewed Jessie Vargas as the easiest title that you could grab in the 147 division, and Manny Pacquiao did that. Well, same situation here. Now I view the Zou Shiming as the easiest title in this division. Line up and take it away as soon as possible, because I don't think this pro career is going to go very far. I'm surprised it's lasted this long.
Beeb, let me ask you here, what, as far as, okay, so he's a two-time gold medalist, correct? Shiming is? I believe he's a two-time. Yeah, I believe he's a two-time. Yeah, it might even be three. But look at the same thing with who is the and his name just escaped me here. They're talking about him fighting Lomachenko. All right, so they're talking about Lomachenko. Yeah. Lomachenko's the same way though. I mean, he's like a 2 or 3-time champion, also Olympic champion. What's the difference? Why does he come out? What is it about the style? What is it about, is it the style or the mindset? Why do some amateurs like this who've been in there just as long? I mean, Shiming and Lomachenko been in there just as long. Why is one able to make the transition and the other not? What is it, the transition that Lomachenko makes that Shiming didn't make?
To be honest with you, Eric, I think it's where they come from. Where Lomachenko comes from, there are other fighters from his country that have been successful pros, and I think that makes a difference. Can you name the top Chinaman who has ever been a successful pro? I can't think of one, but yet there's tons of Ukrainians that have been able to make that switch.
Chinaman.
And I agree. Robbie, agree with Robbie. I agree with Robbie. I think that Eastern European region does produce better fighters, particularly right now. Well, we see Golovkin, we see Kovalev, see the Klitschko's have been very successful as well. But the thing is this, Lomachenko definitely has a different mindset. He's all business is there. He's not there to play around. When he can't knock somebody out, he keeps fighting, an intelligent fight. He tries to break them down. You could see him kind of, has a game plan, and he's really, really cognizant of trying to follow that game plan. He's just a more cerebral, a more technically sound fighter than Zou Shiming. Zou Shiming slaps with his punches, leads in face first. Again, playing around in there, moving around, like excessive movement that's really, there's not a purpose to it. Everything Lomachenko does in there, there's a purpose to it. He's trying to open up his opponent. He goes to the body. He varies up his attack. This guy, Zou Shiming, headhunts. He plays around, throws bolo punches. I think that Lomachenko is just really, really focused, and he's trying to get better. Whereas this kid, Zou Shiming, I just don't see him getting better. I don't see him adjusting. Whereas Lomachenko has added some wrinkles to his game. He's trying to develop. He's making an effort to develop. Whereas this kid, Zou Shiming, just seems to be happy with who he is and what he's doing right now. And because, again, I'm not trying to dump on the guy, but the reality situation is this guy came into the pros basically with a silver spoon in his mouth. Bob Arum handed him the keys to the cookie jar, gave him a big fat contract, put him on pay-per-views, gave him, put him on made him the main event fighter, and he hasn't really done anything. He hasn't earned his spot. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to disparage the guy. I mean, you make the best of your opportunities that are put forward to you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being an opportunist. But at the end of the day, he got exposed already in one of his fights. He already got a loss against a fight in a fight where we thought he was going to win, or he was supposed to win, fight where he was the favorite. And he doesn't look any better today than he looked in that fight. And he was in there with a guy who was 10 levels below him for a vacant world title in a rematch that he already beat. Now, okay, this guy, his opponent went on a 12-fight winning streak, but against 2. So this is the thing. They're not doing the things, and the promotional company is not doing the things, and he himself as a fighter are not doing the things that can make him progress, that can make him develop, that can make him improve and get better. So they're just basically going off his following. He's popular in China. He sells tickets, and that's fine. So he's more or less going to be an event type guy, as opposed to being, a great fighter. And if he can make a lot of money doing that, all the power to him. But at the end of the day, educated boxing fans know what it is.
Yeah, I would go along with that too. I think that and they're mentioning in the chat too that because of the Macau thing, they talk about Manny going to Macau and he was only fighting there because of the taxes and everything like that. Zou Shiming would have been is a good market for there. He's from China. He's from it makes sense. But again, I mean, to your point, Joe, they're not really building him like they should be building him, because sooner or later Pacquiao's not going to be there. Do you still have, are you still going to have that base in China if you don't have a guy to carry that banner for you because he's not been brought along the correct way? I don't know.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, because this guy's in his middle 30s. Lomachenko, I think, is a lot younger.
Yeah.
Can this guy be built the proper way at his advanced age? I think they turned him pro way too late to do anything with him. I think my point is what you see out of him is exactly what you're going to get every time out. I don't think there's any way to improve him, whereas Lomachenko, I believe, is a different story. Am I wrong?
Well, Lomachenko has definitely improved. There's no question about it. His last fight impressed me. I mean, that was a tough guy he fought. I mean, that was a guy that, I'll tell you what, he took, with him and Salido, those were good fights. And then the way he went in there and just demolished that guy, man, that was insane. But yeah, Zou Shiming can develop. I don't think there's any question about it. If he's willing to develop, they can develop him. They can teach him new things and, maybe try to put some power on him. Now, whether he develops that power or not, that's a different story. But, he's not a bad fighter. I mean, he gets a lot of static, but really he's not a bad fighter. I just think, like I said, man, I think they bring him along too fast. When they brought him along, his first loss, of course, his first and only loss was to I'm Not Ruin Wrong. Ruin Wong was no slouch. I mean, he's a good fighter. I mean, he's had a skid as of recently in his thing with the Olympics or whatever, but prior to that, he was a solid fighter. That's a tough out for anybody. So right. I think Shiming can definitely be developed and that sort of thing, but I don't know that they're doing it the proper way, especially with this guy. You got this guy Fairprom, who he fought 2 years ago. How are you developing him now? And I didn't even see him, you know what, and looking through the ratings and everything on the WBO, I didn't even see him on the WBO ratings. How this came to be, man, I don't know. But giving the guy a belt,
I don't know. I don't know. I just view the two fighters in completely different realms because one is clearly more skilled than the other, and I just don't see. I don't see Shiming's career being successful moving forward because I just think they waited too long to turn him into professional ranks. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's a tough thing because you could say the same thing about Lomachenko, who's now flourishing, and I mean, with Zou, you may not have, pro fighters on that side of the globe, a lot of big time pro, but you have pro fighters, you have good guys in the gym. Not to mention he's got, Bob Arum's stable, which is chock full of good fighters, so he can fight. I mean, you can spar and go anywhere in the world at this point, so if he's not developing, some of the onus has got to be on his handlers, on the promoters, but a lot of that onus has to be on him as well, because he has to want it and he has to know the correct moves and stuff like that. It's not just you depend on your team and that's it. A good fighter will depend on himself as well, as well as get the guidance he needs.
Right.
So.
Well, I just don't think he's willing to do what's necessary, and I think that's why the two careers, Lomachenko has gone one way and his is going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, could be. All right, let's move on to the other card we had on here, and it was a Showbox card. And Robbie, I'm going to kick it over to you. Go ahead and talk about this.
Well, Showbox it's a great series. It shows you fighters that are up and coming, and you get to see how they develop. And in the main event, Shelley Stook was the one that fought, and I like him as a fighter, but he's still got work to do. He's another Eastern European fighter that has the potential to be great, but he's not there yet. He won his fight, but he had a lot of trouble in this fight. He doesn't have the knockout punch that a lot of the other Eastern European fighters do. And so he's going to have to work on things to make him stand out. He did what he needs to do, but there's still a lot more developing to go here.
Good deal. Now, were there any other fights on the card, or that was it, or that was
No, they were like 3 or 4 other fights, but they all were kind of basically the same style of fight,
Right.
There was nothing that really stood out. And you have to understand that when you watch a Showbox card, this is what you're going to get. And, and Showtime and the people behind that series, they do a wonderful job. But you have to understand, these are like the up and coming Friday night fights kind of thing. And you have to understand, you're not going to get top level performances every time out. And that's why I know we're going to talk about him later, but I think that's a wonderful place for a guy like Lippy Morrison to be, for example, because you're going to be able to see him on TV develop the way he's supposed to.
Very much. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a perfect, that's where he needs to be. And again, we'll talk about Trey Lippy Morrison after in the news and rumors section. But yeah, that's a very good point. That's exactly where that guy needs to be for sure. 323.
I mean, all these guys. I was going to say all these guys that are on that series, they're there for a reason, and the fans will be able to figure out if they watch it religiously, they'll be able to figure out who to get behind and who not to. Go ahead, Eric.
323-870-3857 if you want to call in or chime in on your 2 cents. Let's go to the upcoming fights now. Let's look at next week. It's not a big fight weekend of action. There's a lot of undercards going on. There's some in nothing that's going to be televised though. There's a lot around the country, but nothing that's going to be really televised. So we're going to move straight to November 12th, Saturday in Philadelphia, the PBC on Spike. Danny Garcia versus Samuel Vargas, 10 rounds welterweights. Jarrett Hurd versus Beeb's boy, Jojo Dan, 12 rounds junior middleweights. And Javier Fortuna versus Omar Douglas, also on there, 10 rounds lightweights. Beeb, What are your thoughts on Danny Garcia versus Samuel Vargas?
Well, again, another showcase fight for Danny Garcia. If the fight with Thurman does come off as it's supposed to come off, I believe in March, then okay, I'll be looking forward to that. But not a huge fan of these type of tune-up fights. Danny Garcia, like I said before, if he wants to spar, he could spar at the gym. I just don't think this fight's going to be competitive, and I have to be honest, I'm not really excited about it. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm really not looking forward to it.
No, I don't know that this will be that competitive either. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I've got to be honest here. If Danny Garcia is going to be on this card and you want to build up the Keith Thurman fight, why don't you have Keith Thurman on the same card fighting somebody? If you're going to if you're going to use this as a tune-up and you're going to build up the Thurman fight, why isn't Keith fighting somebody on this card? Now I like the fights that are underneath it. I think those are interesting, but the Danny Garcia fight does not interest me at all. I think Omar Douglas, for example, he's going to put on a good show Saturday night. Matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if he wins that fight. Jared Hurd, he's somebody to look out for. Every time I've seen him fight, he puts on a good show. But you're putting Danny Garcia, who's a top-level world champion fighter, against somebody that a lot of us have never really heard of. I don't like that.
I know a couple of weeks ago.
Here's the thing, Robbie. You asked a question. I was going to say, you asked a question, Robbie, why isn't Keith Thurman on this card? Because Keith Thurman is looking ahead to Danny Garcia. He's more interested in big fights. He's already established the fact that he's on another level. He's looking to progress. He wants to be a top level fighter, and he knows fighting the Samuel Vargas of the world isn't really going to enhance him in any way possible. And I say that with all due respect to Samuel Vargas, because Samuel Vargas is a guy trying to make money just like everyone else. But at the end of the day, this is just a mismatch. And if Keith Thurman doesn't fight on this card and he wants to wait for a real showdown with Danny Garcia, then all the power to him. All the power to him. Because at this point in your career, you don't need stay busy fights. You've been a world champion, 2-time world champion. You're a top level fighter. Stay busy fights should be behind you at this point in your career. In my opinion.
Well, Joe, I wasn't saying that Keith should be. I was just saying, a lot of times.
No, I understand. I understand your point. No, I know.
Yeah. All right.
I think that a caller called in a couple of weeks ago and said that Samuel Vargas is was a 154 pounder. So Danny Garcia is getting ready to fight, and he fought at 154. Now he's coming back down. I don't care if the guy fought at 175. This is a huge mismatch. And, I hope that that nobody gets hurt in this. This is like an Al Heyman special. This is not a fight that Danny Garcia, if you're looking for a tune-up, this is not the guy to get ready for Keith Thurman. It's just not. It's a complete mismatch. I don't know why Danny Garcia chose this guy. This was if he wants to get ready for him, at least take somebody with a pulse. This guy is not, this is, and I tell you what, man, I'm real, I'm not that excited about this fight. I'm real interested to watch it and see how Danny Garcia does. And if it's a whitewash, shame on Danny Garcia, because this is not, I would rather see him sit out and wait for Keith Thurman than to fight somebody like this. No question.
Well, like I said, Eric, I'm more interested in the undercard fights because Jared Hurd, every time he steps in the ring, he puts on a show. Every time Omar Douglas is in the ring, he gives a good performance. Danny Garcia fighting Samuel Vargas, there's no reason for it.
No. I'm actually looking forward to the Jared Hurd and Jojo Dan fight. I like Jojo Dan, man. I think it'll be a competitive fight. I hope it's a competitive fight. We'll see how it goes, though. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Again, I'm just so focused on the top end of this card, and it's like, you know, if I'm looking for other cards to bail out the top end, then that just doesn't say too much about the whole card, in general. So I hope you're right.
Yeah. Well, what about the people that are?
Fingers, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, what about the people that are forced to pay for this card? Do you think the PBC is actually giving out comps to go to this thing to try to fill that arena up?
Well, we'll see. We've heard the rumors before that they do give away tickets. So
yeah.
I hope everybody in Philadelphia gets a lot of cheesesteaks out of this deal. That's all.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder where it's taking place. Obviously Philadelphia, but I wonder what arena it's taken, what venue they've selected. Typically, PBC has gone to like colleges and that sort of thing. Like in Chicago, I know they go to the UIC Pavilion, which is on the campus, and it doesn't hold a lot of people, but that's okay. But they usually sell out like the lower bowl. Typically, they don't go any higher than that. To try to make it look full on TV. But I'd be real interested to see. Where they're going to stage this at, and if it's going to be full or not. I want to see the numbers for that.
Maybe somebody listening in Philadelphia can let us know where it's going to be, because I don't know.
Yeah. So very interesting. Now, also too, it's got listed on HBO. Louis Ortiz versus Malik Scott, 12 rounds heavyweights, and Jamie McDonald versus Laborio Solis, 12 rounds for McDonald's WBA regular. Yeah, we'll talk about that one. Bantamweight title.
I know HBO is going to show the Luis Ortiz fight. I did see that advertised. So
yeah,
they are still in the Luis Ortiz business. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And my man Martin Murray is on the card. He probably won't be televised, but Martin Murray versus Dmitry Chudinov, 12 rounds super middleweights. I'd like to see that one. They're probably not going to show it. I would hope they would show Jamie McDonald, though, and Laborio Solis. I would hope they would show at least that fight, not just the Ortiz fight.
That's not a bad fight.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's not a bad fight.
Well, we'll see what the folks at HBO decide to do.
Yeah. And on BN Sports, that same night, Zelina Munoza versus Carolina Alvarez, 10 rounds, female junior bantamweights. So there you go. And then let's see what else we got here. I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it.
Well, next Sunday we'll have a big one to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll have probably a beating the odds with Beeb and everything like that. Beeb has got his bet with Georgie Porgy.
That's right.
Yeah. So it is on. So next week going to be a big show. We got the preview for Kovalev Ward. We've got a beating the odds with Beeb. It's going to be huge. So make sure to check that out.
And we got a pie bet. So, yeah.
That's right. Well, one of them, somebody's going to get pied in the face.
Bet too.
I know it ain't me, but somebody.
Pied in the face next week.
Somebody's getting pied. Somebody's getting pied after that fight. So we'll all be looking forward to that one. So to everybody in the chat, everybody who's watching us online now, if you guys like what we're doing and we're entertaining you and you like what we're talking about, go ahead and do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. We don't ask you for any money or anything like that. All we ask you for is just to hit the thumbs up button. Tell us, tell a friend about us, have them listening. Paul Anthony in the chat just said Temple University, and that makes sense. So that's where the Danny Garcia fight will be.
That's a perfect venue. That's a perfect venue.
And that's what, PBC, they get a lot of garbage, man. But I tell you what, they do a lot of stuff right, too. They kind of know the audience in the sense that they take it to the right places. They take it to the right venues to give the fights the best chance to do well at the gate and that kind of thing. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Time for our news and rumors section. We talked about it. We alluded to it a little bit earlier in the show. Is Floyd Mayweather making a comeback? Floyd Mayweather told Fight Hype the following. My dad asked me when I was coming back, is the door still open? Absolutely. When asked what it would take to get him back in the ring, Floyd said, I don't know. Different days, I feel different ways. Some days you may feel like, hey, I don't want to write no more. Some days you're like, I love this. But like I always say, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Beeb, clearly he's coming back. Do you think, who aside from Pacquiao, let's hope and pray that the Pacquiao fight doesn't happen. If he does come back, who do you think he comes back to fight? Who could give him a big payday?
He's going to get a big pay no matter what, but no one's going to give him that Pacquiao payday. So just mark it down on your calendar. Sometime in May 2017, Mayweather Pacquiao 2, done deal. Just like I told you, the first one was done. Second one will be done just as well.
It'll be Cinco de Mayo next May. It'll be Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo next May. Just mark it down on your calendar. 2017. If you want to have a nice pay-per-view party, start sending out the invites right now because it's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
And Canelo, that's no longer your day because next May, it belongs to Pacquiao and Mayweather.
We're gonna have a nice pay-per-view party at Robbie's house. Everyone's invited. So get ready.
Do you think? Let me ask you this. Do you think he makes more money with Pacquiao, or does he make more money with Triple G or Canelo?
Pacquiao.
Really?
Pacquiao. He's not going to gain weight to fight. He's not going to gain weight to fight Triple G or Canelo. We're going to be stuck with Maypac 2 all over again, folks.
But do you think? I mean, honestly though, you guys think that's a bigger fight? You think the Maypac 2 is a bigger fight than Canelo Mayweather 2?
I don't think Mayweather will do whatever is necessary to get Canelo to do that.
What do you mean?
The first fight did 4.5 million pay-per-view buys. You know what I'm saying?
4, yep.
But it was also,
but
given the fact though, it was also a lousy fight, and it left a bad taste paying that $100 in everybody's mouth.
We all agree with that.
But listen to this now. Let's talk about all the talk before that fight. Oh, this fight's 7 years too late. Oh, who wants to see this? They're not in their primes anymore. All the talk was about how unimportant the fight was at that stage of their careers. So all the people that are sitting there saying, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to buy it. That's what. If they rematch, the fight does 3 million buys at a minimum. 3 million pay-per-view buys at a minimum.
And keep one thing in mind. If you remember when you watched that fight, remember they had to delay the main event because people were still ordering it. Remember that? They had to delay the main event.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I believe you.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't know that. That's something I didn't know. I did not know that, Robbie.
Yeah. Because I can remember I was sitting there watching it, and Jim Lampley and crew had to basically say, well, we have to delay it because all the cable companies have asked us to delay it because people are still trying to order it.
I think the fight is easier to make. Now without HBO because they could put this right on Showtime or anywhere else. So, Top Rank doesn't want to come out of pocket too many times for their own pay-per-view. Russell Scott in the chat just said, when we asked who was the biggest who was the biggest money guy for Mayweather, he said McGregor, Conor McGregor of the UFC. I'm telling you, man, that fight would be off the charts. That would do more than the Pacquiao Mayweather from a pay-per-view standpoint. Now, would it be competitive and all that other stuff? Whatever. But from a sheer business standpoint, that fight would be through the roof. But hey, Conor McGregor's got to get through Eddie Alvarez next Saturday, which is not going to be an easy task. So
now, Eric, you follow the UFC more than Beeb and I probably do.
Sure.
If that fight were to ever happen, how many pay-per-views would it do?
It would transcend things because like I said, you're bringing a crossover audience over. Conor McGregor, anytime he fights, he's got the whole country of Ireland on his back. That guy is the biggest star. You arguably Ronda Rousey's the biggest star, but she's not there. Him and Ronda Rousey are the two biggest stars in the UFC. This guy, he transcends it. Everybody knows who this guy is, just like everybody knows who Rousey is. Big time numbers. I think they beat the Pacquiao numbers. I really do. And yeah, I'm with Davey Boy Essex, who said Mayweather gets slayed or McGregor gets slayed. Yeah, I believe that too. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care what kind of fighting they're doing. If they got gloves on, he's getting killed. But but as far as business sense and everything like that, I think McGregor makes the most money. I don't think that fight happens. There's a lot of reasons why I don't think that fight happens, but I'd actually disagree with you both on the Pacquiao thing. I think the one that makes the most sense for Mayweather, the one he'll come back to in May, if he does make a comeback, will be Canelo. I think he fights Canelo for a second time because I think that's where the money is. I think you got May 5th. You got all the Mexicans on May 5th. You got Mayweather coming back. I think it's I think him and Pacquiao just left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I don't think he goes that route again. Just my opinion, though.
I don't think Oscar does that.
You don't think Oscar takes all that millions of dollars and pockets it? You think he'd rather go after Triple G?
No.
Really? If the fight's offered to Canelo, you don't think Oscar takes that fight?
No.
Why?
Because Oscar's saving Canelo for Triple G in September. There's no way Oscar puts Canelo in with Mayweather in May.
You don't think? Okay, but let me ask you this: you think that Triple G versus Canelo is a bigger fight than Canelo Mayweather?
No, I don't. But I think Oscar is looking out for his fighter, and I hate that. But I don't think Oscar will put Canelo in the ring with Mayweather. Beeb, what do you say?
Well, I already marked it out on my calendar. May Pac 2, Cinco de Mayo, May 2017. That's just it's stuck in my brain right now. I can't even think of any other Mayweather fights.
No, but Eric's trying to argue with me that Oscar would do the Canelo Mayweather.
The thing is this: Oscar and Floyd don't really get along. So I think the fight be based on that. Floyd Mayweather really does hold the grudge, and so does Oscar. And based on that, Oscar, I don't think would make it either because of all the bad blood involved in this fight.
Because of the fishnets, he keeps bringing up the fishnets.
Yeah, all that stuff. They don't get along.
They don't like each other. Yeah, that's true. They don't like each other.
And I still think that Floyd Pacquiao too can eclipse anything in terms of pay-per-view buys and revenue and that and therefore because I just think that people would buy it again, and I think they could put another $100 price tag on the fight, and people would buy it. And
I guarantee you, if that fight is made, you can count on it's going to be $100. It will be.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. Facebook Live and Cody, go get it. If you don't have it already, you better go get it. It's coming May.
It is what it is.
Good Lord, $100, man. Another $100 fight.
I want to stress again. I'm not in favor of this, but that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, Russell Scott just said. Yeah, Russell Scott just said, in his relationship with Aaron is stronger than the one with De La Hoya. He's right. He's got no relationship with either one of them.
Yeah,
everybody. Nobody likes that guy.
Think about it. Top Rank comped him last night. They comped him last night.
They gave him free tickets,
wow.
man.
Who knows? Who knows?
When was the last time he was at a Golden Boy event? Yeah, when was the last time he was at a Golden Boy event?
When was the last time anybody showed up at a Golden Boy event?
Hey, we had over 51,000 in Dallas in September, so a lot of people show up to Golden Boy events.
Yeah.
All right.
Now that Pacquiao's not with HBO anymore, I mean, that Mayweather fight even looks better now.
All right, so let's talk about this. Anthony Joshua and Eric Molina is now official. Britain's IBF heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua will defend against Eric Molina in Manchester on December 10th, and that fight has been signed, sealed, and delivered. We covered this last week. The same thing, because it was rumored to be that's where it was going. I still don't like the fight. I don't think anybody likes the fight. So yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't like Eric. I don't like the fight, but I do give. Like I said on Steve Kim's show on Monday, I give Eric Molina a chance to be competitive because he was competitive against Deontay Wilder. At least Eric Molina, when he took that fight, he didn't lay down, and I don't think he's going to lay down against Joshua. I think Joshua is superior. I think Joshua will knock him out, but I think Eric Molina will go out on his shield. By the way, that fight is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, December 10th on Showtime.
Very good.
You know why I like the fight? You know why I really like the fight?
No.
I'll tell you why. Because it's in the UK, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones here.
And that thing.
Go ahead.
Oh,
What?
Go ahead.
No, what were you saying?
I was going to say that same day, Showtime has the fight from L.A., the Julian Williams-Charlo fight.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we
that's
also
going to
have
be good.
Terrence Crawford fighting on that same day.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Busy day.
Yeah, that's going to be a very nice day of fights, man. 347, you are live. 347.
Hey guys, this is Monster Piece. What's up?
Hey, how are
Hey,
ya?
what's up?
What's happening?
How you guys doing tonight?
Good, man.
Oh
Good.
my God, we're having a great one.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, how did you guys enjoy the fight last night?
You know what? I fell asleep during the main event. I did, man. I fell asleep. I can't even lie. I had to check it out through today. Davey Boy Essex, I had to catch it on his feed. I had like 2 feeds going too. And I was watching it. About the 5th round, I was out. I was out cold. And I didn't wake up till like the decision was announced. So I knew that Pacquiao had won. And I was like, all right, well, I'll catch it tomorrow.
Well, you know what, guys? I actually picked Vargas. I know, crazy. But I actually picked Vargas, not because I actually thought he had a puncher's chance of winning, but because I really wanted to believe in him. I really wanted him to win. I wanted him to pull an upset or something. Because I'm kind of like over Pacquiao already. I think Pacquiao has such a great history, and he's such a legend right now. And, you know, everywhere you go, people's going to know who he is. You know, but at the end of it, I'm kind of done, you know, with him. He proved last night, however, that that's not at all the case. He proved that he could probably still, you know, put in another 2-3 years into his fight. I mean, he's really going in on these young guys. So props to him and God bless him for that. But I'm kind of over him. I kind of want a new star right now. Another welterweight to kind of take the throne. But you know, the fight was, like you said, Eric, it wasn't as entertaining or as exciting as you thought. It was pretty predictable what was going to happen. You know, I was really rooting for Vargas, but, you know, deep down inside, I think we all knew what was going to happen that night. But, Hey, that's how the cookie crumbles with Pacquiao. There's levels to these things, you know?
Absolutely.
Who's going to win? Ward Kovalev? Who you got, Ward or Kovalev?
Ward Kovalev. You know what? I'm still making up my mind. This has been probably the toughest decision. Yeah.
Wow.
This has to be the toughest decision I ever made. Beeb, you already made a decision?
He's got a bet on the line.
Ward's
He's
gonna
got a bet on the line.
I got everything.
If he loses,
I took all the funds for Beeb Industries and I put it on Ward.
On Ward. You know what's funny?
Industries.
You know what's funny? I'm actually leaning towards Ward. That's what's crazy. I'm actually leaning towards
woman.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. That's a safe bet, man.
I don't know because it's crazy because my boyfriend is picking he's picking Kovalev. Like he's not even thinking about his wife. And I'm here like, well, how are you guys making up these decisions? Like, I know I have a lot to learn about the sport, but goddamn, like I cannot make a decision that easy right now. But I'm leaning towards Ward.
He hasn't lost since he was 12.
I'm not a big Andre Ward fan. But the guy, he doesn't lose. And I can't go against him because I don't see him losing this fight. I think this is going to be the toughest fight of Kovalev's career. I'm definitely picking Ward in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Ward as well. Little by little, I'm just making up my mind more and more and more. But, you know, it's going to be a fun fight. I think that's one of those fights where every hardcore is going to get every casual to want to watch it. It's going to be one of those things where you just got to be glued to the TV, and I hope so, because I think this is one of the best fights we're probably going to have this year.
Monster, I got to ask you one question. This is a little bit off. This is off topic. Now, my girlfriend got me a manicure.
Oh, good Lord. All right. So
Eric just told me.
Unbelievable.
Eric told me I lost my man.
Lost it. Totally lost it, son.
Manicure,
totally lost
it. Would you think any less of him?
All right, all right. So before we even go into this, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook with Beeb. We go on. I go on there, and he posts. He runs into people's posts, and there's a picture of his hand. He's just got a picture of his hand up there, and he was like, "Fresh manicure," and I lost it. I was about to get rid of him on the show. I was like, "We can't have this, Beeb. You're killing us here." I was like, "I'm taking away your man card at the very least. At the very least, I'm gonna put you on notice here."
There's nothing wrong.
Oh,
Eric, there's nothing wrong with a manicure. What is wrong with a manicure?
We're tough.
Nice
we're tough guys
Beeb
in Cincinnati.
His girlfriend want to see Beeb's looking clean.
Beeb's looking clean.
You know what, Beeb? Is she? Hey, man, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If she cares about you and loves you that way, then who cares, right? What anybody else thinks. At least your hands are clean. That's what
At least
about.
his hands are clean.
Exactly.
And, it's about making her happy, all right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So Monster Piece at the end.
Yeah, man. No,
in the end,
I think
Monster Piece sides with
think
me, and she said your man
I'm
card
sorry,
should be
what?
revoked.
No, I would not revoke his. No, not at all. As long as he doesn't come home with like black nails or pink nails.
That's next.
I think
That's
it's
next.
fine if he gets his pedicure.
That's a man. Robert, what do you think? What do you make of all this, Robert? You've been pretty quiet over here. What do you make of Beeb getting a manicure? Tell him.
Well,
he's not a man anymore. Tell him.
Would never. I would never do what he did.
Oh.
I would never.
Lies. You know you clip your nails at least once, Bobby. Come on.
No.
You're not walking around out there like a savage.
Oh no! I mean, I take care of them, but I would never go get. I would never have a man. No way.
But it's the same thing. It's just one you actually get a nice, massage, and the other one you just clipping them at home. It's the same thing. Come on, guys. Give Beebs a break.
We're very
Give the
unsophisticated
Beebs a
here.
break.
Very unsophisticated.
Hey, guys, another question that I wanted to ask, right? Okay. So, Donaire and Magdaleno. Come on. Magdaleno won that fight, right, guys? Am I wrong here?
Oh, yeah.
He won the fight.
Yeah.
He won the fight.
He won the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. I don't know what
no
people
question.
would. I think depending on how you look at it, you could probably give it a draw, but you need to watch that again.
No way.
No way, right?
It was a clear win for Magdaleno.
Yeah.
It was. Thank you.
Yeah.
The only way that I would say, it could be a draw is because I say depending on how you see it. If you wanted to give it a draw just because Onito Donaire every once in a while and first did something good, then you're not really looking at the fight entirely. I gave it to Magdaleno for everything.
Hey, the judges would have to be blinder than I am to give that thing a draw. Okay?
Exactly. I just think Onito Donaire, to be honest with you, I never really thought he was a great fighter. I think that after the Regal fight, Donaire just kept going downhill. He hasn't been able to recover from that loss. And, and it proved it last night. He just, not that great. He was just not that entertaining. I was more excited to see Magdaleno in every other round than him.
Even still, though, I was surprised at how well Magdaleno did against Donaire because I picked Donaire to win that fight. I was surprised, and I was pleasantly surprised because I love upsets.
You know what's funny? I didn't pick Donaire. I didn't pick Donaire at all. I picked Magdaleno to win. I picked Valdez. The only fight that and again, I went because I was trying to, believe in Vargas. That was the only fight I got wrong. But I picked Magdaleno and I picked Valdez. I think that after the Regal fight, to be honest with you, convinced me that anybody could outbox Donaire.
Yeah.
He's always he has that one trick thing where he just wants to come forward, and that's really that's as much as his plan will go. That's as far as his plan will go. So if you can figure that out, at the end of the day, if you can outbox the guy, you win. And I think Magdaleno did a good job last night. It was a good fight.
He did awesome.
Did a very good job last night. Yeah, he looked good, man. He looked good. And I had Donaire. I picked Donaire for that. I picked Donaire before the fight happened. I thought Donaire was going to get him. But, Beeb hit it right on the head when he said that, Donaire's got to have a certain opponent in front of him to make him look good. And once they deviate from that script, man, he's in trouble. And they sure did last night.
Hey, Ravi. So, are you happy with PBC and the announcements of all these scheduled fights? Or are you still upset?
No. I like their upcoming schedule. I mean, their schedule is good. But I've got to be honest with you. In September and October, we didn't get much. I mean, after the Canelo fight, nobody in boxing did much of anything. And
yeah.
You know, look, I'm a boxing fan.
Right.
I want fights to watch on my TV every week. Don't give me excuses as to why they can't happen. So when you take my boxing away, I'm not a happy camper. You know.
Right. Yeah, man. Well, I'm excited for the the Thurman and Garcia fight. I am super excited about that one. I think it's about time.
Who you think?
I got Thurman. I'm sorry. I got Thurman. Thurman's another. I mean, Garcia's another. He's pretty Canelo-ish. He likes to, I'm pretty sure that fight is gonna go very similar to the Kawasaki versus Lacey fight.
Oh, I remember that one.
That was a good fight.
Wow.
That was a good fight, and that's what's gonna happen. I have a feeling that Thurman is he's gonna bring it, man. He's gonna bring it that night, because Thurman is a really good fighter who adapts really well. And if that body, that punch to the body didn't tell you that he's adaptable to certain circumstances in a fight, then I don't know what else I can tell you. People criticize him for that body shot, but he recovered well from it, and he did what he needed to do in order to survive in that fight. And you can't blame a man for that. That's a great fighter.
My father and I still talk about that body shot he got hit with, and that he came back from that. I mean, that was really incredible, man, that he actually came back from that, because that would have finished off just about anybody. That really would have, man, because that was rough.
Yep. He did his best. He swallowed his pride. He did what he needed. He ran if he needed to. He held, but he did what he needed to do to survive, and he delivered the stoppage. I mean, Collazo didn't want to continue anymore, so you can't really continue to blame that guy for that. And he just adapts really well. I like seeing Thurman. Thurman is a really interesting fighter. He's a really smart guy. I love hearing him speak. I think he could become a really great star. I really look forward to seeing more of him. And I can't wait for that Garcia fight. I really am excited for that. I'm happy that it got done.
Let me ask you a question. Why does Danny Garcia get no respect from anybody? Sure. I mean, he doesn't. And I mean, is it because he fights the Rod Salkos and the Vargas and everything like that? I mean, because he was like, to me.
He got my respect.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, he's like the most underrated, undefeated fighter out there. And I'm guilty of it too, because I don't want to see him fight Vargas. I think he's going to lose against Thurman. I would actually, anybody who, I would favor Porter over him. I would favor a lot of the, obviously Spence over him. What is it about him that rubs people the wrong way? Is it the fact that he fights those guys?
I don't know. I think it's his inconsistency. To be honest with you, there's some inconsistency with Garcia that is. I don't know if I'm putting my finger on it correctly, but I think there is some inconsistency with him and his level of opponents. Like 1 minute he will be fighting like a great fighter and he will win. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing you know, 3 fights down the line, he's fighting not really guys in his level. Yeah. Then on top of that, he loses to Herrera, which clearly was a loss. A lot of people are going to say, well, on paper it's not. Okay, whatever. But he lost that fight, and they gave it to him.
That should be a loss.
And yeah, exactly. And that leaves a sour taste on a lot of fans, a lot of fans' mouth, because it's like, dude, you got a loss and you're here parading as like this undefeated, incredible, oh my God, Jesus Christ type of guy. And you lost to Herrera, and you kind of also lost to Lamont Peterson if it wasn't for Lamont
I thought
Peterson.
He lost it. Yeah, I thought he lost that fight.
I scored
exactly.
No, but by all rights, guys, Danny Garcia should have 2 losses on his record.
Yeah. Exactly. I think if Danny Garcia had 2 losses on his record, he probably would have had more respect right now, Eric, to be honest with you, than he is getting right now. But being that he doesn't and he's leaving the sour taste on people's mouths, it's kind of like, you know what? Nah, I don't buy this. Until he gets in there with a real guy, I'm not going to, a lot of people are thinking that way. I honestly respect Garcia to an extent, I like the guy. I think he's cool. He has an amazing, freakishly powerful left hook. It's great, but that's as far as his, abilities go. As for Thurman could turn into whatever guy. And he's a good puncher. The guy could, fight on the outside. He could fight with you in the pocket. He has a strong, he has power. So it's going to be a little, that fight is going to be great. I don't even know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I just want it to happen already.
Absolutely.
The last good performance that Danny Garcia has been involved in, and I picked against him in this fight, was the Lucas Matisse fight on the undercard of Canelo and Mayweather. That's the last good fight Danny Garcia has been in. The rest of his fights have been kind of tailor-made for him.
It kind of has, yeah.
Except for the Herrera and Peterson fights, which I think he lost both.
But wasn't Herrera a cherry pick too? And look what ended up happening.
Yeah, he was a cherry pick. They brought him over to Puerto Rico because they thought Danny was going to look good in front of his so-called Puerto Rican audience, and by all rights, he should have lost that fight.
He should have lost. I've seen that fight, and oh my God! I mean, it's just that Danny just loves chasing his opponents around. That kid cannot put pressure. I mean, he's really bad at cutting the ring. He's really bad at those kind of things. Those minor fundamental things and technical things that could help you in a fight. When you're fighting a boxer, but I don't know what he's gonna do with Thurman, man, because Thurman's gonna be all over that ass. He's gonna be in there. Yep.
It's gonna be no joke.
Yep. One last thing before I go, Robbie, I got a fight to pick with you. You guys are ready for this? Give me the room, give me the room. Move out of the way, Robbie.
Oh man.
What are you upset about?
Robbie, what did you say? I listened to your shows. I listened. What did you say that you don't want women to be fighting? What is that I heard? You got a female boxing fan right here trying to defend all these incredible female fighters out there, which, by the way, Carissa Shields is going to be, on the Andre Ward and Kovalev fight.
For free? Yeah, she's going to be on there for free. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole world's going to be watching that. So what is it that you said, Robbie? Can you repeat that? Now that
sexist, Robbie.
It's my own personal opinion. I don't like watching female fighters.
Look at you.
That's just me.
Well, Robbie, you gotta get used to that, man. I think we need more examples like that out there for young ladies because, women need to learn kind of how to defend themselves. They need to learn how to be strong. And I think every once in a while, every once in a while we should have, a lot of role models like that. And I wish that boxing would have the same kind of format that UFC has with the females because it would be really cool to see, young ladies going like, oh my God, I could be a fighter, I could be strong. So I'm hoping that, that does happen in the future after this Andre Ward Kovalev fight. I'm hoping that a star is born overnight.
Look, I do think because of the success of a Carissa Shields, I do think that we are going to get more female fights on TV. It's just a personal opinion of mine. I don't have I don't have anything against women fighting. I choose not to watch it. That's all.
That's fine. Don't worry.
Sexist.
I was just playing with you. I'm just teasing you.
What a
it's totally
sexist.
Understandable.
Unbelievable.
I love you, Robbie.
Get with the program. Unbelievable.
I love women. I don't want to see them fight.
Sexist.
That's what it comes down to.
Unbelievable.
Aww.
Wow.
It's
Robert said they
so
shouldn't
much
be
fun
involved in
talking to
any
you guys.
sports.
All right.
Unbelievable.
So much fun talking to you guys. You have a great night.
You too.
All right,
Thank you for calling.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Robert said they shouldn't be involved in
call.
any
if you want to,
any
Eric.
sports.
It's just my opinion.
Any sports. Robert, killing it tonight. Killing it tonight. First Chinaman, now being a sexist Robert, on fire tonight, son.
Well, what the hell am I supposed to call him? Because that's what he is.
Well, he didn't build the railroads. I mean,
like Donald Trump's running. You're acting like Donald Trump's running mate right now, Robbie. What's going on here?
I love it.
Well, hey, Joe.
Next, you're going to be trying to build a wall. You're going to be building a wall pretty soon. Keep it up.
Keeping me out? What are you doing? Maron. All right. Let's go to the.
Yeah, we need Eric here.
That's right. That's right. You build a wall. I'm going to be on the other side of it. What are you doing? Come on.
What's going on here?
Oh, my.
All right. So let's move on to our train wreck of the week. Beeb.
Chicka, 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 chicka.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. The train wreck of the week involves Shannon Briggs versus Lucas Brown for the WBA championship. Lucas Brown is currently ranked number 3 by the WBA. He's got to fight former champ Shannon Briggs on or before December 31st, 2016. Now, I guess they gotta come to an agreement to fight. I don't think they're gonna fight before then, but they got to come to an agreement to fight. The winner of that fight must face Fresno Kendo, who by court order from the state of New York is the mandatory for the WBA World Heavyweight title, the regular heavyweight title.
Oh, my God.
Okendo was slated to be the challenger for Brown, but he wasn't ready to fight, whatever the case may be. What planet is the WBA located? The planet is, the planet that Briggs is a mandatory for the WBA title. Here's Briggs' last 3 opponents. Emilio Zarate, Michael Marone, and Zoltan Petriani. What warrants a title shot out of those 3 people? And what about Lucas Brown?
Okay, Eric, you need to play the soundbite because that's where it fits here.
And what about Lucas Brown? He hasn't exactly fought stellar opposition either. What about him?
This whole thing, the WBA, it's a fucking idiot. That's right. This whole thing with the WBA is a disaster because you're talking about Lucas Brown fighting Shannon Briggs, and then if he wins against Shannon Briggs, you have him fighting another over 40-plus guy in Fresno Kendo. I mean, this is bad. This is horrible. Yeah, because the winner, the mandatory is going to be Fresno Kendo. That guy's still around. All right, that's even scarier. All right. So, and then Lucas Brown was just suspended by the WBA for clenbuterol. Then he was exonerated. How on earth you test positive and then get exonerated? Who knows? Maybe he was eating a meat in Mexico. I don't know what happened. So, piggybacking off of this, doesn't end there for the train wreck of the week. With Briggs and Brown, that super fight going on. That clears the path for Klitschko to fight Joshua for, get this, the WBA Super Heavyweight Championship. The WBA is in the midst of holding a tournament that absolutely nobody knows about. The reason for the tournament is to get rid of their super champions and regular champions and just make one. Louis Ortiz gave up his belt. He was the regular champion. This was a perfect opportunity to say, okay, great, we only have one now. Because Louis Ortiz gave it up. We can have a vacant one. They can fight for it, whoever. You can deem whoever to fight for it. So what do? They split it again. So now Klitschko and Joshua, one of those two will hold the WBA Super Championship. Did I mention I hate the WBA? Hopefully Klitschko can make it next year to next year's fight without breaking a hip. He seemed fairly fragile lately when it comes to injury. All nonsense aside, I mean, what's going on here? Is this the dumbest thing you've ever heard of when they're trying to put the belt into one? Now they split it. What in the world, Actually, you could call the WBA the seniors division because everybody's almost over 40 there.
Shannon Briggs. Yeah, Shannon Briggs. And why is he the mandatory all of a sudden? The crowd at Home Depot, you couldn't find somebody big enough? I mean, why is he a mandatory now for fighting those 3 morons?
Oh my God, I have no idea. But it's pathetic because you got Fresno Kendo and Shannon Briggs, both in their 40s, and Lucas Brown is no spring chicken either, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one that's not, not the not the cock of the walk, I guess you would say. I mean, he's not the youngest guy out there. And again, he was the one that just got popped for clenbuterol or whatever the case may be. I mean, go figure that one out.
Yeah, he got popped for he got popped for the same time Francisco Vargas got popped for it. Remember?
Right. So yeah, exactly. So
and they both got exonerated.
Unbelievable. I don't get it. So that is definitely the train wreck of the week. And
the WBA is a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Can't play that soundbite enough, I'll tell you what. So there you go. All right, so let's talk about Trey Lippy Morrison. And we talked about him, we just touched on him earlier in the Showbox and everything like that. So Tony Holden, his promoter, has came out and said they're going to try to develop him. And they haven't really talked about his next opponent, but it sounds like, he said he's developed a tight base with the fans in Oklahoma. He's got that four state area there with Texas and everything like that. And they're really going to try to take their time with him and try to develop him. Honestly, I think that's a great idea, but I wouldn't get too excited about him. I think he's fun to watch and he'll be in some entertaining fights. But I mean, as far as him making any kind of title runs or anything like that, I'm not so sure about that. Robert, you've seen him fight. What are your thoughts on him?
Eric, I think he's going to be a wonderful TV fighter, but I don't see him making a major dent in the heavyweight division. I think he's going to be fun to watch. I think he's going to be fun to put on TV, but if he's not developed properly and they try to rush him in against somebody who's a big name too soon, I think his career won't do what it's going to do. I don't know if he'll ever be a champion, but I think he's going to be a fun TV fighter is the best way I would put it.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think that I don't know. I mean, I don't think that he's got anything going on for him as far as, like I said, championship level. But I think if they match him right, he can make a lot of money. And I think if they match him right, he's going to be in a lot of exciting type fights. So moving on to, we have Tevin Farmer versus Darden Zunanaji. Talented prospect Tevin Farmer will return to the ring December 2nd at in Philadelphia, and his opponent will be Darden Zunanaji, who's 12-2 and 9 KOs. Tevin Farmer, of course, is 23-4 with 5 KOs. I like Tevin Farmer. I've never heard of Zunanaji, but I like Tevin Farmer. I don't mind seeing him fight. So there you go. And that's the news. So let's talk about the big news this week. On Tuesday, we got the presidential election. And Beeb, I know that you've been following this. I've been following it. Robert, I know you've been following this. What are your thoughts on who is going to win? Not necessarily who you're voting for, but Beeb, who do you think will win this?
I've been saying this for a long time now, and I think Donald Trump will win this election. I just think that, the polls are definitely tightening. We know that. But not only that, I just think a lot of the polls are skewed. I think they're polling a certain demographic, a certain group of people that are definitely not Trump supporters, number one. And number two, I just think a lot of people that are going to vote for Trump, when they're asked who they're voting for, they're shamed into saying that they're voting for Hillary or that they're not going to vote. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are going to end up voting for Trump that really aren't admitting it. So, because, when you say you're going to vote for Trump or, people support Trump, look what happens. They get beat up, they get assaulted, and they get threatened and they get vilified by the general public out there. So I think Trump is going to win this election, and I think it's going to be a shocker. And I just think the people are fed up with the establishment. I think the people are disgruntled with Hillary Clinton. They're disgruntled with the fact that now that all this information's come out, that basically, they tried to kind of put down Bernie Sanders. They made disparaging remarks about Bernie Sanders, and it looks like the DNC leveraged Hillary Clinton more so than Bernie Sanders, and and then you add up the superdelegates into the whole equation, and Hillary Clinton was basically a manufactured candidate, whereas Donald Trump was voted in by the people. That's just my opinion, and I think that leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. I don't think Bernie had a chance. I think the DNC was going to do whatever they could to make sure that Hillary Clinton was the nominee, because she's a pay for play type candidate, and she's got a lot of people owing her favors, and she owes a lot of people favors, and I think people tried to collect on that, and that's just what I think happened. That's just my opinion, but Donald Trump's going to win this election.
I think so too. Robert, what about you? Who do you think
Beeb,
wins?
Well, Beeb, I hope you're right. First of all, outstanding.
Wow.
I hope you're right, but I don't think. Now I've already voted, so I did vote for Donald Trump. So we are going to make America great again. Donald Trump is 16-0 because he knocked out 16 Republican candidates. Because remember, there were 17 in the beginning, and he's the last one standing. And so I voted for him. But if I was a betting man and I was going to put money on it, I would have to bet on I'd have to bet on Hillary to win this decision here. If I was going to break it down fight wise, I think the deck unfortunately is stacked in her favor because the media is behind her, and unless we get a situation like we got in 2000 with the hanging Chad situation in Florida, and the Supreme Court finally had to decide who won that election. Unless we get another situation like that, I see Hillary Clinton winning a decision here.
Robbie,
Yes.
didn't you say that you, and just correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not taking a shot, but did you not say a couple of months ago that you were going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and it seems as though you changed your mind? If that is the case, what made you change your mind?
No, I never, because I hate Hillary Clinton, so I never said I was going to vote for her.
Okay.
I wanted to do anything I could to not vote for her, and so I voted for Donald Trump. And he's the only presidential candidate, because there are other candidates from other parties that nobody's heard of that has a legitimate chance of beating her. But unfortunately, I think the deck is stacked against him, and I think the judges are going to pull in Hillary's favor. And God, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, okay. I tell you what, man.
Who's going to win, Eric? Who's going to win, Eric?
I'll tell you what, I think Hillary Clinton's going to win, and I think Hillary Clinton's going to win easy. I think if Hillary Clinton, North Carolina right now is the big state. That's kind of the big state in question here. If Trump wins North Carolina, then it'll be a lot closer than expected. If Hillary wins North Carolina, it's a done deal. There's a better path.
I thought Ohio was.
Ohio's leaning
was
Trump. No, Ohio's already leaning Trump. Trump's going to take Ohio.
Okay.
Okay. There's just an easier path for her to get to 280 or 270. There's an easier path. 270. There's an easier path for her to get to 270 than there is for him to get to 270. Given all the polling info and all the data and stuff like that, it's just an easier path for her. So ultimately, I think that Hillary Clinton will win. I think that up until a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't going to vote for either one of them. I was voting for Gary Johnson, and then Gary Johnson goes on the shows and he can't name one foreign leader that he admires. Okay, all right, I'm willing to let it pass. Because, now he can go and look at the foreign leaders, now he can study it, whatever. He's asked on another show about foreign leaders and to name one foreign leader. That was the question. Name one foreign leader, and he couldn't do it. I can't in good conscience vote for Gary Johnson anymore. As much as I want to, I just can't. So that leaves me with these two clowns. And to me, I have to vote for the lesser of two evils. And to me, I got to roll with Hillary Clinton on this one, man. It just do. I think she's the lesser of two evils. I think Trump, if he gets in there, that guy's a maniac. I think we'll be in war. The over-under on that is about 2 months. We'll be at war with somebody. This guy gets in Twitter wars for the most ridiculous reasons. He shouldn't be in a Twitter war anyway, especially if you're running for president. That being said, I'm not real thrilled with Hillary either. I think they slighted the election with Bernie Sanders with the DNC. I think she was a part of that. I'm not real crazy about her either, but you're kind of limited on options. So you kind of have to go with the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. So I'll be taking Hillary Clinton. I think she'll win the election. I think she actually wins it rather easy. So
Eric, you've just made all the women in the United States very happy.
There you go. See, I'm not a sexist like the other people on the show, like Robert. Who says they need to be in the kitchen and everything like that. He's not voting for them. They shouldn't be in sports.
No.
Robert's
Hey,
terrible.
don't put words in my mouth. I said that I don't. I love women, but I don't like to watch them fight. So there you go.
Fair enough. All right, that's going to lead us to our fantasy fights this week, and I got the best intro in the business coming up. Hopefully. Maybe not.
I'd like to say, the best ever.
I'm 33 and over 30 knockouts. I'm the champ. Who's the best boxer ever? We're here to answer that question for you. 32 fighters, 3 judges, 1 champion will be crowned the best ever. This is the Ringside Reporter Fantasy Tournament. Here are your hosts, Eric Lorda and Joe Beeb.
Come on, you got to give it up. That's the best intro out there. Come on, Beeb, what do you think?
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
It's the best, right? It's the best intro ever, man. You got to love that one. That's the best intro they've ever done. All right, so this is the Fantasy Welterweight Tournament. The premise of this is that we put 32 of the best names and the biggest names in welterweight history, all of whom have held titles in the welterweight division. We put them in a big bracket. Now they're going to fight it out. Each week, we break down the fights, give you the result according to the way we think it would have happened. The 3 judges for each fight will be myself, Joe Habib, and the 3rd judge will be a computer program, and the computer will give its opinion on how the fight would have played out. All fights will be 12 rounds. Let's get started. The first fight on the docket, Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Jose Napoles. Jose Napoles defeated Ricky Hatton in a very, very controversial decision in the first round of the tournament. In a decision so controversial, it almost got Beeb's citizenship revoked from the UK. Floyd Mayweather cruised past Carmen Basilio with little effort in the first round and is favored to do the same thing here against Jose Napoles. Let's break this fight down. Power-wise, who do you have?
Wow. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to call it a draw.
All right. I'm going to give Napoles the edge and power here. I'm going to give him the edge and power here. Speed, I got to give it with Mayweather. I don't think there's any question.
Yep. Mayweather definitely is the quicker.
Yeah.
Of the 2. No question.
Chin-wise, Mayweather's never been knocked down. I don't think. Maybe Castillo put him down, but I don't think it was counted.
90 seconds.
So chin-wise, I got to go with Mayweather on this.
Yep. Mayweather definitely never been knocked out, never been stopped. Napoles has been stopped 4 times. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Mayweather as well.
Absolutely. Boxing ability, another one, I think, in the column of Mayweather. And Mayweather is just a brilliant boxer. You can't really take anything away from him. That's who I'm rolling with here.
60 seconds.
Boxing ability.
I'm sorry, did you say Mayweather?
Yeah, I said Mayweather.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. That the British lady came in and said 60 seconds, and I missed it. The X factor for me is going to be, you know how I feel about that. The X factor for me is going to be Mayweather's speed here.
I'm going to say the X factor is Mayweather's boxing ability, and with that boxing ability is the ability to adapt and switch up and change things up on the fly. I think that's going to be a problem for Napoles.
Yeah, I think so. To me, the fight plays out like this. To me, the toughest decision here is whether or not
10
Mayweather
seconds.
can actually put him away. Can he put him away? Can he put him away early? I don't think there's any question of Mayweather would win this fight. For me, it's just a question of when it happens. I think Napolis will be able to weather the storm, and I see Mayweather doing what he always does, and that's just enough to win, but not enough to really impress or get him out of there. I think once Mayweather realizes the fight is out of reach for Napolis, he still wins rounds, but takes no risk going for the knockout. I don't see Napolis giving him any kind of real pressure, real challenge, anything like that. I think Mayweather wins this rather handily. My pick is Floyd Mayweather via very easy unanimous decision.
Yeah, I agree. I just think Napolis is definitely he's a smooth, fluid puncher. He's a guy who's a slick Cuban school type boxer. But the key to the game here is going to be speed and Mayweather's timing and Mayweather's ability to just always read his opponents so well and see things unfold before they even happen. You know, and I said that earlier in the show about that being a really great gift in boxing. And because of that, I don't think it's going to be easy. I think there'll be some rough patches, but I see Mayweather winning, an 8-4 type fight against Napolis. I think he will outbox him. I think he will time. I think he'll come in. I think he'll beat him to the punch. I think he'll make Napolis make some mistakes, and Mayweather's got those long arms. So I think if he keeps the fight on the outside, I think he'll have some success. And I think he'll outbox him, but I don't think it'll be easy because Napolis will keep coming and he'll make it an interesting fight.
Very interesting. All right.
So Mayweather by unanimous decision. Yeah.
Okay, great. 8-4. Wow, that's tighter than I would have thought. That's tighter than I would have had it for sure. I mean, just based on everything I've seen, it's tough, man. It's tough to see a way, and you see the same thing. It's tough to see a way he wins. Yeah. But that's a tough one.
The way you're describing this fight, guys, it's a 12-0 shutout. The way it looks to me.
No, I mean, let's look at some of Mayweather's fights. I mean, against Zab Judah, he scored that fight 8-4. Scored the Maidana fight, the first one, 7-5. Oscar De La Hoya, Mayweather, I scored that 8-4. So, sometimes you can win some early rounds against Mayweather. That's what I'm saying. And then the second half of the fight, he usually really kicks it up a notch. So that's why I'm calling that.
Yeah,
I'm going that route.
Yeah. It takes him. It may take him some time to figure him out, but on the second half of the fight is where he turns it on. Absolutely. Yeah. So I picked Floyd by unanimous decision. So does Beeb. The computer pick will make it unanimous. 87% of the time, Floyd Mayweather wins, and he is now moving on to the Elite Eight. And we'll show you against who in a few minutes here. All right, let's move on to our next fight here. That will be Kid Gavilan versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Kid Gavilan beat Wilfredo Benitez in the first round of the tournament to advance, and Sugar Ray Leonard defeated Luis Manuel Rodriguez in the first round. The winner will move on to the Elite Eight. Let's break this fight down. In the power department, I have Sugar Ray Leonard. I think he's got a lot more power than Gavilan. What about you, Beeb?
Without question, Sugar Ray Leonard. Yes. Kid Gavilan was not a gigantic, huge puncher at all.
Yeah, he's got some pop, man. That's for sure. Speed. This is another, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I take Leonard in this one. I think he's got a lot more speed.
I'm going to go with Leonard as well.
Yeah. The chin, again, I mean, nobody's really, he's been stopped late in his career, but I got to go with Leonard on the chin.
I'm going to say the chin's a push.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Push. Because with how many fights Kid Gavilan had, he hasn't been stopped once. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. And remember the beating that Ray Leonard took from Terry Norris and finished that fight. That's what killed me, that he finished that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, what a chin on that guy, because Norris was a killer puncher. My gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's true.
All right, let's talk about boxing ability. To me, Sugar Ray Leonard all day on this one.
Yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard is definitely the better boxer.
For me, the X factor here is Leonard's speed and movement, and how will Gavilan deal with that?
I'm going to say, Leonard's boxing ability. Yeah, Leonard's boxing ability is going to be the X factor here.
Yeah.
He's a more athletically gifted fighter of the two, too. And, that would enhance his boxing ability further, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, so let's talk about this fight. Let me break this fight down here, and then I'll pass over to Beeb. I thought, Gavilan fought Benitez in the first round. I gave Benitez that fight. Of course, I was overruled. Be that as it may, I still think it was an uphill climb. This fight is going to be an uphill climb for Gavilan. Gavilan was fighting in the 40s and 50s. And to be honest, man, his style, to me anyway, when I look at his style, it would not have translated to the styles of today or even in the 80s. Sugar Ray Leonard would have had his way with Gavilan. Gavilan honestly would have been powerless to stop it. I really don't believe there's anything that Gavilan could have offered up that Ray Leonard couldn't have countered. Not to mention, you're looking at his speed. You're looking at his power. Gavilan may not have been knocked out, but I guarantee he's never seen a fighter like Sugar Ray Leonard. No way. Sugar Ray would have had his way with Gavilan. Ray would have done whatever he wanted in this fight. I see this fight ending badly for Gavilan. My pick is Sugar Ray Leonard by 8th round knockout.
That was very ironic because Kid Gavilan was like the guy who created the bolo punch, which is a punch that Sugar Ray Leonard kind of emulated.
Absolutely.
Kid Gavilan, against Roberto Duran and against many other fighters.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Kid Gavilan was a very unconventional fighter, where Sugar Ray Leonard could be unconventional at times, but he could fight textbook boxing as well. I mean, he was a good boxer, just very all-around skilled boxer. He could fight on the inside, fight on the outside. He could move. He could stand and trade if he had to. He could do it all, whereas Kid Gavilan, I think, was a good boxer in his own right, but he was a guy that, tried to do things unconventionally, tried to catch his opponent off guard, tried to punch at weird, unorthodox angles, tried to hit his opponents with punches they couldn't see. And the thing about that with Leonard is he's so fast that it's going to be hard to pin him down and land one of those unorthodox punches. So I think him being unorthodox against Leonard would be his undoing, because Sugar Ray Leonard, as I said, could do it all, and he could counter punch as well. So if you make a mistake against Sugar Ray Leonard and he hurts you, he can finish you. But because Kid Gavilan is so durable, he's always in such great shape when he fought, I think he would hang in there. But I could see him being frustrated against Sugar Ray Leonard. I could see Sugar Ray Leonard out-bolo punching him. And, I'm going to go with Sugar Ray Leonard here. I think that Sugar Ray Leonard would get off first. I think he would land the more meaningful blows. And I think he would outwork Kid Gavilan over the course of 12 rounds or 15 rounds, whatever it would be. I'm going to go with Sugar Ray Leonard by 12-round unanimous decision. Too slick for Kid Gavilan.
Very good. Very good. So my pick is Ray Leonard by 8th round knockout. Your pick is Sugar Ray Leonard via unanimous decision. Sugar Ray Leonard will move on. The computer makes it unanimous. Ray Leonard wins this fight 69% of the time. So there you go. And then Sugar Ray Leonard is moving on. Now, let me see if I can share the screen here. Let me see if I can get this. And this is always
what
one of
do we
those
got
things.
coming up next week, guys?
Well, that's why I'm going to share the screen here, and we'll find out here. So let's see.
Okay.
All right. Beeb, is this working for you? Let's see.
I can see it, yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So now the Elite Eight is set. The Elite Eight is set. So we have Sugar Ray Robinson versus Thomas Hitman Hearns.
Wow.
Coming up next week. Sugar Shane Mosley in a rematch. 3 of the 4 of these fights are rematches. Sugar Shane Mosley versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Both in their prime.
This is sick. This is sick.
Oscar De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. That's going to be a crazy fight too. And then Roberto Duran versus Sugar Ray Leonard in the Elite Eight to round it off. Wow.
You know what we have?
Wow.
Oh, you know what we have there? We got lots of sugar.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We sure.
Yeah, we do.
3 of the
Wow.
4 fights. Yeah, 3 of the
You're
4
gonna get a
fights.
cavity.
Sugar. That's
We're gonna
right.
get about 10 cavities next week.
No
We're gonna get 10
doubt,
cavities
man.
Next week doing this fantasy.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
we got Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, and Sugar Shane Mosley. How about that?
That's it. So
Wow.
we will have Sugar Ray Robinson versus Thomas Hearns next week. So we're going to do one of these at a time. So we'll do Sugar Ray Robinson versus Thomas Hearns. That is going to be, I cannot wait for that fight. That is going to be an amazing fight. Amazing.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're winding down, man. The Elite 8. What about it, man? What about that? Craziness.
I'm
Craziness. All right.
The ironic thing about all this is 3 of them are actual fights that have already happened, and we're gonna do the rematches.
Well, I think that's crazy too.
It's like yeah. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was going to say that's crazy too. Because you think about it, it's like, you know, you talked about, like, say let's talk about, like, say the Floyd Mayweather fight, the Floyd Mayweather Shane Mosley fight. You got that fight, right? And you know, we've already seen it, but Shane Mosley was well past his prime when he fought him. So what would have happened if those two fought in their prime? You know, look at Tito Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya. That fight took place, both guys in their prime, but people disagree on who won. You know, and then you got Roberto Duran versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Hey, that happened in their prime. Duran won. The second fight you can kind of throw out because that happened. He was way out of shape for that fight. You know, the third fight, they were both well past their prime. Who do you got? You know, was Duran really the better guy? I mean, who knows? So it's a tough one, man. This isn't just cut and dry because we saw the fights, man. Good stuff, man.
Right.
Good stuff. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 773-572-7781 and listen to all the podcasts and fights. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we'll catch you next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, and that is a wrap. I can't hear you. If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We're still live. It shows that we're still going, so.
I shut it off.
All right.
Let me see here. Yeah, we're off. We should be off.
All right, because I'm still showing live on our thing.
Oh, well, stop it.